Alright. Alright. So, we last left off, with, Miss Angel Star here, and her testimony, was being revised, and talking about Lana Sky, our client, and how she was doing the murder at that specific time. Lana Sky intended to murder Detective Goodman. That's why she called the victim all the way to the prosecutor's office. I'm sure the chief prosecutor had a grudge against the victim. Nothing else could drive that human machine to plunge a knife in again and again. The victim was summoned from the police department to the prosecutor's office. It does sound a lot like premeditation, doesn't it? So, if I order a pizza, does that mean I'm planning to kill the delivery boy? In any case, the defense may now cross-examine the witness. Cross-examination. Angel's deduction. Lana Sky intended to murder Detective Goodman. Hold it. You said that, but you haven't told us how you know. That's what I'm about to tell you, rookie. I believe what you just said was a mere prelude to the story she's about to tell. Try not to interrupt her again, rookie. Never interrupt the storyteller. It's like pulling a bun out of the oven half-baked. Something's half-baked here, all right, and it's you. Try not to confuse the defense witness. They're not very quick on their feet. Now, why did you believe the suspect had intentions to murder the victim? Her actions speak for themselves. That's why she called the victim all the way to the prosecutor's office. You have no proof that Miss Sky called him there. You have no proof that she didn't. Mr. Edgeworth, thoughts? There's no record of a call made on the defendant, Miss Lana Sky's phone. She might have written him a letter. Come on, you could have tried public phone first at least. In any case, the victim came to the prosecutor's office where he was murdered. I'm sure he had a reason to be there. Witness? Why do you think it was the suspect who summoned the victim that day? I'm sure the chief prosecutor had a grudge against the victim. What kind of grudge? Well, I wouldn't know that. Of course you don't. That's because she didn't have a grudge. Rookie. I have a lunchbox here. Now, what's inside? How am I supposed to know? See, we agree there is a lunchbox here, but we don't know what's inside. A person's life is like a lunchbox with pretzels. Don't you agree? I get it. That's why my lunch was so salty. This judge isn't very good with metaphors. The suspect had a grudge against Detective Goodman. Will you tell us your basis for thinking this? It's simple. Nothing else could drive that human machine to plunge a knife in again and again. A human machine? That's a contradiction. Objection. Please. Can't you find fault with something of substance, Mr. Wright? Note to self, Mr. Edgeworth's eyes smell like citrus fruit. You say again and again. How many times did she stab him, exactly? We often say chop into 1,000 pieces, but we don't actually mean 1,000 pieces. What difference does it make if the deed is done? How come she's getting mad at me? Let's just say she stabbed him several times and leave it at that. leave it at that. This is a murder case, people. Mr. Wright, you should speak up if you have an objection, you know. Miss Star has turned out to be as short-tempered as she looked when we met her. Challenging her abilities as a detective really set her off. The short wick burns out the fastest. It's a scientific fact. I wonder, wouldn't it depend on the size of the candle? I mean, add more wax and even a really short wick will burn longer. Obviously, more scientific testing is required. Alright, well, this guy intended to murder Detective Goodman. I think it's... one knife wound. There we are. That was it, yeah. That's why she called the victim all the way to the prosecutor's office. I'm sure the chief prosecutor had a grudge against the victim. Nothing else could drive the human machine to plunge the knife in again and again. There's only one knife wound. You say she stabbed him again and again, but you couldn't have witnessed that. Are you testing me? Then I'll test you. With my moss surprise. Just moss? I'm afraid the moss is growing under our feet as we wait, Miss Star. What do you mean? I shouldn't have to explain this, but take a look. The autopsy report states that the death was due to a loss of blood from one stab wound. You're right. Good show, Mr. Edgeworth. What a hunk. He's my hero, really. What about my objection? No one noticed? Well, witness? You got the crime scene set, right? Oh, thanks. I always believed that no one could ever mistake ketchup for blood. But now, I realize that such mistakes are possible. So, you're saying you mistook something for blood? When she lifted her knife, I thought I saw blood at her breast. Splattered blood from her victim. That's why I thought she must have stabbed him at least twice. Then tell us what you saw that you thought was blood. Testify. Her red muffler looked like blood to me. That's how ghastly the whole scene was. Her red muffler? Yes, like a scarf. The chief prosecutor always wears one around her neck. So she can be easily hanged at a moment's notice, I suppose. She's right. This guy was wearing a red scarf, wasn't she? Oh wait, isn't it odd that you mistook that for splattered blood? Well, people often mistake my beard for a bib. I judge with a bib. That's why this place feels so much like kindergarten sometimes. The kindergarten courthouse, yep. Actually, I do think I saw some traces of blood on her chest. However, the autopsy report is clear on this matter. There is only one knife wound. Apparently, Miss Star isn't entirely sure of her own testimony. Mr. Wright, this is our chance. Chance? For what, I wonder? Miss Star turned out to be as short-tempered as she looked when we met her. Challenging her abilities as a detective really set her off. Short wick burns the factus. I wonder, blah 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 blah. Obviously, more scientific testing is required. The red muffler looked like blood to me. That's how ghastly the whole scene was. Let's see, aha, I know she's not wearing it. She's not wearing the muffler. Miss Star, I demand an explanation. The witness is clearly not suited for detective work. What? The suspect was not wearing a scarf or muffler or any kind when she stabbed the victim. And you've proved it yourself with this photograph. Huh? But that can't be. Only a professional lunch lady could be so utterly clueless. Congratulations. Perhaps you finally found your true calling in life. Harsh words, but good. In the end, Mr. Edgeworth prevails. What was my objection? Chopped liver? But it was there. A scarf. No, not that, but something red. Really? Well now, where were we? The witness has given us an entertaining interlude, but back to business. What? Very well, witness. Continue your testimony. You saw the crime and apprehended the suspect. Tell us about that. Very well. I do remember some things accurately, at least. How many hamster powers is my car? Not entirely sure. Generally, I measure it a bit more in groundhog power, which is about around 75 groundhog power. I'd have to do some conversion for hamster power. Give me some time on that one. I'll get back to you. Ultimately, we couldn't shake the most important part of her testimony. Well, the most important part? The part where your sister stabs the victim. This next testimony might just be the moment of truth. Anyway, hello, by the way. Cuddle bear extraordinaire. Apprehending the suspect. After the murder, the suspect attempted to run behind a partition off to her side. I quickly caught her, explained her rights to her, and arrested her on the spot. Ah, yes. When I arrested her, she mentioned the muffler. That's what had me confused in my earlier testimony. The chief prosecutor made to escape, but against Angel Star, resistance is futile. You are quite determined about this scarf, aren't you? I strike like a snake and bite like a cobra. That's me, Angel Star. Those are the same thing. That wasn't a very good metaphor. First of all, a cobra is a kind of snake. Don't bother with details unless you want to get bitten. No thanks. Note to self, Mr. Wright is weak against poisonous snake bites. As would most people. The chief prosecutor tried to resist, but her efforts were in vain. She knocked my hands aside, kicked over an oil drum. An oil drum? Hard to imagine. Oh, she's beautiful, but deadly. A predator, this one. A leopard woman. Rawr. Very well, Mr. Wright. Your cross-examination, if you will. Staying safe, Crescent. Just getting the virus. I have no concerns about the virus, really, honestly. My concerns are about the people overreacting to the virus. Cat's claw herb. Well, even if it's not legal, I could probably know a few people where I can get it. But yeah, it's yeah, in case you couldn't tell, I am sick, or getting over a sickness. But yeah, in America, we're getting kind of just crazy. I think in California, San Francisco or something, they're enacting a curfew, which America, we're not really allowed to have laws like that. In Washington State, the governor or some higher up idiot has straight up outlawed restaurants and bars from running services inside. You can have takeout, but you can't actually go to a restaurant and sit down and eat a meal. That has been outlawed. In the middle of all these people frantically buying everything in the store, causing a shortage of food, and then he put in a shortage of restaurants to go to as a alternative. So it's just a big old mess right now. And it's people causing problems. And there's like people lining up to go to Costco for like a mile or something crazy. Just a lot of people lined up to try and get something. And it's like, why? You don't need to stock up and panic hoard all this shit. Yeah, I went to the store, picked out the things I normally got some new stuff, went to the cash register and left. Nothing crazy happened, and I'll be fine. I will bet my life on it. Yeah, but it's just... And in our little town here, Colville, we have a lot of restaurants, and we're barely above the financial ability. Well, it's we kind of sort of are the West. You do have Europe and whatnot, but Europe, America is not safe. We're just stupid. But yeah, it's... People are all freaking out about the coronavirus, but there haven't actually been too many deaths. There's actually been even a lot of people who have recovered from it. People are also looking into shutting down and canceling government buildings. Like the licensing office is doing appointment only, but they didn't quite tell anybody that. And so it's just... My sister, she works at some government title companies, and they're all freaking out about this. It's just absurd how much they're reacting to it. If it was like something like, I want to say like the bubonic plague, but that's easily treatable, where there were deaths and like lots and lots of people dying, that would be one thing. Coronavirus is just people getting infected. Not many people are actually dying, which means it's just kind of a bug. It's a cold. Howdy do. Here, schools and kindergartens are closed for a few weeks now. And yeah, it's just, everything is closed. That's causing financial hardships on a lot of people. They're also saying, don't go to work. Well, I gotta go to work. I gotta get a paycheck. I gotta afford to live here. It's not like everybody's like, okay, everybody, you don't have to pay for anything today. Just sit down and be okay. Yeah, no, we still have to pay for everything we use. Internet, food, heating, housing, all that shit. We still have to pay for it. But now we're being required to not have a job. So it's just problem after problem. Back to lawyering. We're going to poke a hole in her testimony one way or the other. After the murder, the suspect attempted to run behind a partition off to her side. So, where is this partition on the floor plans? I'm sure she means this wall next to the car. That's right. There was a wall there, about 6 feet high. She was obviously trying to hide herself. Quite a natural thing for a criminal to do. And what did you do then? I just love how Edgeworth is just standing there. Just kind of just faking glare. And what did you do then? I quickly caught her, explained her rights to her, and arrested her on the spot. Good. Good. You say quickly. Were you close to the suspect? As I just said, I was only 30 feet away from her the whole time. Maybe I should press her for more details? Yes. I'd like to see this on the floor plans, just to be safe. The Lynchland car was... She was a visitor, thus she was parked in B block. So, you witnessed the murder from here? That would make it about 30 feet from the car, yes. Is that correct, Miss Starr? Yes, that's right. But there was a chain link fence in front of you? I went over it, of course. Amazing! The Coffin Queen Lunch Lady athlete indeed. It would have taken her a little time to climb over the fence, so she couldn't have gotten to my sister that fast. Yeah, that fence was about 9 feet high, too. So how did this guy not get away? I can just imagine, like, sitting there with, like, stabbing a guy, and this crazy lunch lady's coming after you, climbing over a fence to get at you. That's... that would be quite a sight. I could eat a whole stampede of bananas out of the kitchen. Flock of bananas? Bananas, sweet soul. You monster. Ah, yes. When I arrested her, she mentioned the muffler. She mentioned the muffler? What exactly did she say? If I remembered exactly, I would have told you in my testimony. Cheeky. Anyway, all I heard her say was the word muffler. Just that one word? So, what you heard wasn't the suspect talking to you, but to someone else? Yes, the chief prosecutor was talking on her phone. Her phone? She can't mean... Probably... That's her? By phone, do you mean this cell phone discovered at the crime scene? Yes, ultimately. Ultimately? My memory is like a salmon heading upstream, you see. No, the court doesn't see Miss Starr. The chief prosecutor first attempted to use the phone hanging on the wall. On the wall? That's right. Near the car, there was an emergency phone on the wall. Apparently, it was out of order, as they always happen to be. PS1. PS2 is the blue one, you numbnuts. The blocky blue letters, this is PS1. And so she used her cell phone? Indeed, the emergency phone was out of order that day. Good witnessing, witness. Good witnessing? Whatever happened to good testifying? You should, of course, add this to your testimony. The things I do to please this rookie defense attorney. Lana's cell phone updated in the court record. The word muffler was overheard during a call made to Emma at 5:18. One other thing about this shirt in particular, this specific one, I got this one in Germany. And it has Japanese on it. So I'm quite fond of this shirt. I went to see my viewers in Germany at the I think it was the Berlin Comic Con. Yeah. And it's this is one of my souvenirs. Quite proud of it. I try and take care of it. I got 3 shirts over there. A purple Medusa doll and a bunch of other stuff. Pretty cool. And it was that picture up there. That one right there. Right behind my head. I saw it all. How she tried the phone on the wall, but had to use her cell phone. Her cell instead. Do you think you could restate your testimony for the court? Aha! I was going to ask the same thing. I'll only say this one time, so listen close, rookies. The chief prosecutor stabbed the victim and ran behind the partition. Then she picked up the emergency phone on the wall, but it was out of order. So she pulled her own cell phone out of her pocket. And during that time, you climbed over the chain link fence. Then, when I boldly grabbed her arm, the chief prosecutor hung up her phone. And you saw her doing this? What is it, Mr. Wright? The chief prosecutor made to escape, but against Angel Starr, resistance is futile. She made to escape. Can you be more specific? I do from time to time. She's a weeb just like all of us. She brushed aside my hand and ran. It was a terrible sight to see, like a dollop of lard on a pâté of foie gras. She even kicked over an oil drum at me. An oil drum? There was an oil drum lying on its side at the scene of the crime. But it's strange. Huh? What's that? If she wanted to escape, why didn't she run the other way? The other... Ah. The parking lot entrance. That's right. It doesn't make any sense that she would run from behind the partition to the oil drums. Excellent. More mysteries. I wish we could solve a few before finding more, though. So, Miss Sky tried to run. I'm sorry my sister is so suspicious, Mr. Wright. Not as sorry as I am. But she didn't do it. You have to believe me. Right. This one was a pretty easy one to spot where there was a problem. Any of you guys guess it? I saw it all. How she tried the phone on the wall, but had to use her cell instead. You couldn't have possibly seen that. Miss Starr, I have to conclude that you have a personal grudge against Miss Lana Sky. Objection. The witness is a former detective. Her testimony is unmarred by personal bias. Well, who would have thought you would be my knight in shining armor, prosecutor? You, who, together with the chief prosecutor, kicked me out 2 years ago. Well, Miss Starr, this is a fatal contradiction with your testimony. How do you explain this? I don't know what you're talking about. Mess with me, and I'll make you cough it all up. Let's look at the floor plans. You said you witnessed the crime from this point. However, if that's true, you couldn't possibly have seen Miss Sky making that phone call. I believe you see what I'm getting at. That emergency phone was on the back side of this partition. If indeed you were in B block, you couldn't have seen it. Alright. Order, order. What is the meaning of this? It's simple, Your Honor. She's not coughing up lunch. She's coughing up lies. Objection. That's quite a claim, Mr. Wright. Perhaps you will allow me a question. Tell us exactly what lie this witness has told the court. Here's where the counterattack begins. I can't afford to get this wrong. The witness lied about... all of it? Which one specifically? Well, I guess where she saw it. Miss Sky tried to use the emergency phone, but it was out of order. What is significant about this fact? Nothing. Therefore, it would be pointless for Miss Starr to lie about it. Pointless to lie? I see. But say the witness did actually see Miss Sky using the emergency phone. It would mean Miss Starr witnessed the crime from a different location. Objection. A different location? Now that's a pointless lie if I've ever heard one. Objection. Before you call my lie pointless, at least let me tell it. Let me ask a question to our clever wordsmith, Mr. Wright. Just where was the witness when she saw the crime? All the testimony we've heard up until now points to one direction. The place from where Miss Starr witnessed his crime was... A block? But why didn't she just say A block? Security room? This is the only place where she could have been. The security guard room? Indeed, the security room in the underground parking lot is well positioned. It's built on the second floor, so you can see the entire lot. She would have been able to see the emergency phone from there. But why there? There are many other places where she could have seen the phone. Not in this case, Your Honor. The witness, not being part of the prosecutor's office, couldn't park in A block. The only place where she could have seen the crime in the back of the partition is here. I remember in your testimony, you said you brought a lunch to your boyfriend in the security guard room. Yes? Well, Miss Starr? How many years have I been getting the better of men? To think that the tables could be turned. Today, a man has got the better of Angel Star. Order! Order! Witness! What have you done? You used to be a detective. You should know better. I'm not turning back. The guilty will be punished. And I'll do what I must to make sure justice prevails. The guilty. Is she talking about Miss Sky? Oh, Mr. Wright? Doesn't this strike you as odd? Why did Miss Star lie? It doesn't make sense. Huh? She could have just said she saw the crime from the security guard station. It wouldn't change anything. Exactly. This photograph tells all. It was the defendant who stabbed the victim. That truth still stands. Objection! It still stands? I disagree, Mr. Edgeworth. But what? If a witness is found to be lying, they're guilty of perjury. She knows this. She wouldn't risk that without a good reason. So tell us what her reason was, Mr. Wright. Huh? Me? Who else? Mr. Wright, let's review what we know. The Star witnessed the crime from the security guard station. But she lied and said she saw it from B block. It must make a vital difference. But what? What would change? Angle of view to the crime, distance to the crime, or difference in lighting. Well, vital difference, angle of view to the crime. Distance is roughly the same, especially if she climbed over the fence. So what's left would be the angle of view to the crime. Why? The angle at which she saw the crime occur would change. The angle? What do you mean? Well, the security guard station is on the second floor, and, she would have a sort of more 3D view of the scene. And this is important. Why? Perhaps you'd like to reconsider, Mr. Wright. Shit. That's right. Let's review what we know. Miss Star witnessed the crime from the security guard station. But she lied and said she saw it from B block. It must make a vital difference, but what? What would change? The only thing left is the distance to the crime. It changes the distance between her and the scene of the crime. Objection. My condolences, Mr. Wright, but one look at the floor plans and it's quite clear. The distance between the scene of the crime and the guard station is 30 feet. I don't see how that would change what she could see. Objection. What she saw is not in question here. What matters is the time it would take her to reach the scene of the crime. Miss Star, you witnessed the crime from the security guard station. Now, how long did it take you to go from there to the scene of the crime where you arrested Miss Sky? Well, witness? You... Yes? You ordered the squid wheels, right? The quality of my lunches has gone from low to inedible. I was bringing a PB&J lunch with fresh boysenberry jam to my boyfriend. Boysenberry for the boyfriend? He wasn't in the station, so I waited. I witnessed the crime from the glass-walled station. And before I knew what I was doing, I found myself running towards the scene. But the door was locked. I couldn't open it. That's why I had to go through the visitors' parking in B block. That's quite a detour. That's a big one. It probably took me at least 5 minutes to get to the scene of the crime. 5 minutes? Hmm, this changes things considerably. But it was that woman over there in the defendant's chair who stabbed him. I know it. I have photographic evidence. I swear it. I swear it on my finest plastic spork. Plastic sporks, huh? You have a point. And the spork is a wonderful invention. Would you like another caviar lunch? Absolutely. Uh-oh. Mr. Wright, you have to do something. Do I have any evidence to stop this? Stop what? No? I'm being an idiot. 5 minutes between the witnessing of the murder and the arrest. Think about it. You can make pasta in that amount of time, if you like it al dente. I've got lunchboxes that tie pasta into knots, rookie. A 5-minute blink. Isn't that strange? Strange? If you were a criminal, what would you do with 5 minutes, Your Honor? Well, I guess I'd flee the scene. Hey! Don't get the wrong idea. I didn't kill anyone. But you have the instincts of a killer. You would run. But this time was different. This guy dawdled at the scene of the crime. She even had her picture taken. No true criminal would act this way. It's inconceivable. No, true criminals can't be idiots. There's some world's dumbest criminal thing I've seen where this dude got lemon juice, sprayed it all over his face, and thought that since it made invisible ink, he would be invisible. So he went and tried to rob a bank with lemon juice on his face. He even looked and smiled at the camera because he thought he was invisible. It's not how it works, buddy. Well then, it seems we've come to the end of this testimony. The witness has a grudge against the defendant and a blank in her testimony. Mr. Edgeworth, is the next witness ready to go? Unfortunately, I appear to have overestimated this witness on account of her professional history. We did it! We screwed that can shut, Mr. Wright. That was too close. I'm afraid that the cough-up queen has been dethroned. And with that, court is adjourned. Mr. Edgeworth, you ordered the squid wheels, right? That's the one she tried to voice off on me. I prefer to not take the defense team's leftovers. Anything else to say? I might be able to save you. I have decisive evidence. What was that? Is this another one of her trick lunchboxes? My apologies, but we have no further questions to ask of you, Miss Starr. Is this your jumbo lunchbox? Woohoo! A triple-decker! Out of deference to the witness's determination, I'll allow one more testimony. Let's hear about this decisive evidence. Like the Lunchline motto says, you won't be disappointed. What's she gonna pull out of her lunchbox this time? Witness testimony. Decisive evidence. I should have mentioned those 5 minutes when I wasn't looking at the crime scene. And now, to the matter of the victim's shoe. Did I not bring this up? No. 2 types of blood were found on this shoe. One was, of course, the victim's, and the other blood type matched that of the defendant, Miss Lana Skye. This shoe proves it. It's flawless, decisive evidence. It's a shoe. What? There was blood found on that shoe? Try Lunchland for all your lunch and decisive evidence needs. Objection. Witness, what's the meaning of this? Why is this the first time I've heard of this evidence? Simple. As I've already said, I don't trust you with evidence, Mr. Edgeworth. That's why I took the liberty of investigating this myself. And you had blood tests performed? Didn't I mention? I have 3 boyfriends in forensics. In any case, Your Honor, I can't accept this as evidence. What? You must know the 2 rules of evidence law. Rule 1. No evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. In other words, this shoe is illegal evidence, at least for the time being. Is that right, Mr. Wright? It seems so. Edgeworth sure is celebrating. Not so fast, Mr. Edgeworth. Don't forget, I used to be a detective. As I mentioned previously, this shoe has already been tested by a member of the forensics department. As you can see, it was approved by the police department as of today. Even the general public can produce official evidence, Mr. Edgeworth. Is that right, Mr. Wright? It seems so. Edgeworth is looking pretty sullen. You can at least study some evidence law, really. Why would I need to study law? I'm just a defense attorney. The prosecution's complaints notwithstanding, it appears that this evidence satisfies the first rule of evidence law. However, it seems you have yet another count against you, witness. Anything to ensure that the guilty are properly judged. Victim's shoe added to the court record. White enamel shoe bears traces of blood from Goodman and Lana Skye. Very well, Mr. Wright. You may cross-examine the witness. I'm cross-examining a lunch lady about a shoe in a murder case. Decisive evidence. I should mention those 5 minutes when I wasn't looking at the crime scene. Absolutely. Why did you lie about those 5 minutes? I guess you could say I just wanted people to look at the results. The results? How many times do I have to say this? I saw the chief prosecutor stab the victim before my very own eyes. Compared to that, a 5-minute blank means nothing. Then why didn't you just tell the truth? Don't make me laugh. We're dealing with the most untrustworthy of the vile lot known as prosecutors. Falsified evidence, arranged testimonies, erasing and manipulating evidence. When you fight monsters, you need to use every trick in the book. This when the suspect is admitting she did it? But false testimony is the most despicable crime of all, Miss Starr. Let's just get this over with. And now, to the matter of the victim's shoe. Did I not bring this up? And you found this shoe at the scene of the crime? I detained the chief prosecutor and notified the police department. I wanted to make myself useful while I was waiting for the police to arrive. So, like an ill-trained pooch, you snuck off with a shoe. I was afraid someone would erase the chief prosecutor's crime. This shoe was my secret weapon if that should happen. See this fashionable basket I have here? It carries more than lunchboxes, gentlemen. I'm happy for you and your lunchbox bag. Really. In any case, you removed valuable evidence from the scene of the crime. Now tell us what you did next. 2 types of blood were found on the shoe. One was, of course, the victim's. So, you brought it to the forensics department? If you're going to submit something as evidence in court, you need it approved. To do that, evidence must be analyzed by a forensics expert. And she got away with her little coup because she used to be a detective. The shoe does appear to have bloodstains on it. Well, the man was stabbed, after all. And that blood belonged to the victim, Detective Goodman. As I said, there were 2 types of blood found on the shoe. And the other blood type matched that of the defendant, Miss Lana Skye. You can't say for sure that the blood belonged to the defendant with a blood test. You claim to know something about blood tests, rookie? Huh? Well, speak up. Well, blood comes 4 types, A, B, O, and AB. However, you can't tell from a blood test whether murder was committed in cold blood. That's just a figure of speech, Mr. Wright. Actually, we can differentiate between millions of types with all the blood tests out there, which means that we can more or less narrow any sample of blood down to just one person. Or so I hear. That's pretty specific. If I had a little more time, I would have gotten DNA test results. But they said there's very little doubt it could be anyone but Miss Lana Skies. So the suspect's blood was found on the victim's shoe. That ties her directly to the death of Detective Goodman. I was afraid he was going to say that. Well, it's kind of logical. This shoe proves it. It's flawless, decisive evidence. But I can't let this evidence go without a fight. You ordered the peppered fish guts, right? Some like it hot, Mr. Wright. Some, like your client, she's in enough hot water to make a whole vat of soup. Mr. Wright, do you or don't you have a problem with this shoe? Problem? This is critical. Is there a problem with the victim's shoe? Yes! If I'm not imagining things, I'd say there's one critical problem with this evidence. A clear contradiction. That gleam in your eyes. You're still young, rookie. I'd give you a peppered fish guts now. But you couldn't take the heat, could you? Let's hear what Mr. Wright has to say. What is contradictory about the victim's shoe? Show us the problem with this evidence. I guess this one. I wonder if you notice there's blood on the bottom of the shoe. I just noticed it. I totally knew this the whole time. Don't mess with me, rookie, or it'll be your blood on the bottom of my shoe. Indeed, there is quite a bit of blood on the bottom of the shoe. It makes sense. The victim was stabbed with a knife. What could possibly be contradictory about blood on the bottom of the shoe? You stabbed in the chest? Yeah. You're not a clown. You are the entire circus. Yeah, well, thank you. I've got no real grudge against clowns. They're weird. Their job is weird. Not necessarily the people they are. Okay, well, thank you for the host. Alright, so it's one knife wound from blood loss to the chest. I'm guessing your shoe has blood on it too. You just shot yourself in the foot. Would you like a grind or a grind from the heel of my boot, Mr. Wright? Man, tough crowd. That's right. Let's be scientific about this. Examine the evidence. As I thought, a waste of time. Well, that was a nice break. Let's return to the testimony, shall we? I got something. I just have no idea what. Woo! Rock. That's one of the fun little sticker emotes. Alright, can I examine this? Oop. Wrong button. Shit. I really gotta think this over now. Wrong button. That one. This blood, it's my sister's, right? It appears so. Lana's right hand was bandaged when I saw her in jail. She must have cut herself at the time of the crime. Poor sis. Alright. Yeah, there's blood here too? On the sole of the shoe? It's got to be the victim's. He must have stepped in a puddle of his own blood. All this blood. It's horrible. This blood might be an important clue. figure that out, but specifically how? Well, if he's standing in a puddle of his own blood, where is all the blood? Yeah, that's the one I needed. The photo. There's no blood in there. Alright, let's... That's what it was. That's what it was. We're gonna skip back to the thingy. There's a problem. Not imagining things. Blah, 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 blah. Shows the problem with this evidence. Already been through this. I just didn't know how to tell you guys that you're all stupid. Indeed, there's blood. I'll give you. Just can't do it. Here we go. Yes, I got it. The problem lies in the footprint. The footprint? Note that the bottom of the victim's shoe is covered in blood. Then, isn't it strange? Why weren't any blood footprints found by the scene of the crime? Well, as you can see, there were no traces of any such footprints at the scene of the crime. That contradicts your claim about this shoe. Objection. This picture only shows part of the floor, so there could have been bloody footprints. Objection. Then where are they, Mr. Edgeworth? Because we checked the scene and found nothing of the sort. Order. 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 Well, witness. What? Huh? Great going, Mr. Wright. But it's true that the lack of a footprint is a contradiction. But then we have to ask why there wasn't a footprint. Oh, that's true. There has to be a reason why there wasn't a footprint. Think, Mr. Wright, think. Hey, I don't know why it's not there. I'm just good at finding contradictions. What? Hold it. I see. Now I get it. Get what? Our witness is more devious than I gave her credit for. We were hoodwinked to the very end. But she slipped. There is one vital hint to the truth in her testimony. What are you talking about? Think back to when she told us about apprehending the suspect. The chief prosecutor tried to resist, but her efforts were in vain. She knocked my hands aside, kicked over an oil drum. Oh, she's beautiful, but deadly. A predator, this one. A leopard woman. Raw. I thought that was a strange thing for the normally cool-headed chief to do. No kidding. Now, witness, allow me to ask a very simple question. This oil drum, was it empty? Oh, that? I'm not sure I like your attitude, Mr. Edgeworth. Though apparently you're not the slowest conveyor belt in the lunchbox factory. Witness. Well, was the oil drum empty? The oil drum kicked over by the chief prosecutor was brimming with water. Water? What does that mean? Still don't get it, Mr. Wright? Do you want to know the reason she knocked it over? The real reason? Ah! You don't mean... Yes, the suspect knocked over that oil drum for one reason and one reason alone. To erase the bloodstains that would become evidence against her. That ties things up quite nicely. The bloodstains left on the victim's shoe tie her quite clearly to this murder. Then, after the deed was done, she knocked over the oil drum to erase the telltale signs. Why, that's a prosecutor's specialty, erasing evidence. That reminds me, Miss Skye's right hand was hurt. Didn't she say she'd cut herself when she stabbed him? So that's when my sister's blood got on the shoe? Well, I see no reason to prolong this trial. Mr. Wright, do something, please. What? What can I do? Your sister has confessed to the crime and she tried to conceal it. But... Enough. There is no need for further debate. The verdict, Your Honor. Very well. But Angel Star is on the prosecution side. She could have been lying about the water. This court finds the defendant, Miss Lana Sky. Little girl, what did you just say? Huh? Me? Did you say that I, Angel Star, was on the prosecution side? Well, yeah, you are. You're saying my sister hid evidence by erasing the bloody footprints. Well. I thought you'd had your fill, but here you are, demanding a second helping. Another lunchbox. A lunchbox called evidence. Wait, witness. Don't tell me you have something else. Objection. The time for deliberations is past. Any further comments and you will be held in contempt of court. Your threats don't scare the cough-up queen. Look at this. A photograph? I had it just in case anyone had the gall to suggest that the white shoe didn't belong to the victim. I see no room for error in this evidence. Mr. Wright, wait. Look at the asphalt in this photo. Right, it's clearly wet. Erasing the last trace of doubt from the court's mind. Immediately after the murder, the crime scene was washed with water. Sorry, Mr. Wright. I guess I couldn't help after all. It's not your fault. I knew I couldn't win this case from the beginning. And it seems this is what your sister wanted anyway. I'm sorry, Mia. Right. Wet or not, don't be so quick to throw in the towel. Get yourself up off the asphalt. Take another good look. Don't give up. Not until the bitter end. This is the last piece of evidence. Very well. This time I'd like to declare a verdict for good. Your Honor, wait. What is it with you people? Can't I hand down my verdicts in peace anymore? Whatever it is, can it wait? No, it can't. Then it will be too late. Look at this photograph, the last one submitted. This trial isn't over until we give each piece of evidence proper consideration. So, Wright, are you saying there's a problem with this latest piece of evidence? Yeah, I'll think later. Yeah, there's a problem. Right or wrong, I've got to go ahead with this. I suppose since we've come this far, we should give every claim a fair stake. Very well, Mr. Wright. Show the court the problem in this photograph. Absolutely. Let me just sit here and come up with a response to that first. So we've got a knife wound in his chest, him just lying there in the trunk of a car. Where they stabbed him in his car. Exhaust. There is something there. That's the muffler. That's the muffler. The problem in this photograph is here. What's this? There's something poking out of the car's muffler. Wait just a moment, Mr. Edgeworth. Your Honor? You just said muffler. However, I see no trace of a muffler or scarf or of any kind in this photograph. A muffler is also a part of on a car or motorcycle, Your Honor. Just think of it as part of the exhaust system, a pipe. I see, and I see. What's that suspicious-looking claw sticking out of the car's muffler? So what if there's something sticking out of the muffler? What does that have to do with this case? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Objection! Sorry, Miss Starr, but it's not going to be that easy. In fact, you've already told us why this is important to the case. You said as much in your testimony. What? Let's hear what Mr. Wright has on his mind. Tell us why you think this piece of cloth and the muffler is related to this case. I think it's a cell phone that has it now. The word muffler was overheard during a call made to Emma at 5:18. Miss Starr, recall your testimony for the court. Ah, yes. When I arrested her, she mentioned the muffler. That's what had me confused in my earlier testimony. Muffler. Could it be that the muffler you heard mentioned was actually this exhaust pipe? If so, that means this piece of cloth is vital evidence. I'm not quite sure how to voice those screams. I need to figure that out one of these days, I guess. Well, it seems we will have to suspend the proceedings. Paper, scissors, rock. Suspend? I find myself wondering about that piece of cloth. If we leave any questions unanswered here, we do a disservice to the law. Have the car at the crime scene inspected at once, and bring me that cloth. The verdict will wait until after we've seen all the evidence. Agreed? I suppose so. That was close. But we made it. At least for now. This court will adjourn for a 30-minute recess. It's lunchtime after all. He's still hungry? He's the judge after all. To be continued. February 23rd, 11:56 a.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby Number 2. Yeah, we did it, guys. We survived. Skin of our teeth. If I didn't screw up so much, it might not have been such a close call. Mr. Wright? Huh? What? Alright. See ya, man. Thanks for helping in. Have fun. Come by anytime. Huh? What? Are trials always like this with you? GG yourself, man. Good game. Are trials always like this? Pretty much, yeah. This is pretty standard, actually. Like, you're swimming up from the bottom of the lake about to reach the surface. But no matter how hard you paddle, you never seem to get there. Pretty much. Except today we're swimming in quicksand. So, what happened to your sister, anyway? Apparently, she got called off to the judge's chambers. Huh. Probably something to do with that piece of cloth. So, this is where we turn this trial around, right? Our only weapon, a tiny, insignificant piece of cloth. I'm the one who's starting to feel tiny and insignificant, to tell the truth. Hold up, partner. They say you show a red cloth to a bull, it'll fire up its temper. That's what they told me when I was young'un, at least. Officer Marshall? Thought I'd come take a look-see at how the trial's going. Looks like I'm late. They got the home ranch locked down tighter than a fort in enemy territory. That hard to slip out, huh? What's going on over there anyway? All the police I've seen these last 2 days have been really on edge. Don't you got enough on your plate without worrying about other people, compadre? You could be worrying about the chief prosecutor's taste in mufflers, for example. Officer Marshall? The whole muffler thing didn't have anything to do with scarves. She wasn't even wearing a scarf. You don't say. Now don't that just beat all? I've seen the red breeze blow at her slender neck many a time. I saw it that day, too. She was wearing a red muffler. What? At the award ceremony that afternoon. Edgeworth's seen it, too, I'd reckon. What does that mean? In the photograph taken at the crime scene, she wasn't wearing a scarf. So, Miss Star wasn't mistaken. Well, it's about time. Remember, partner, sometimes you gotta grab the bull by the horns. And sometimes you just gotta let the bull go where it will. Time will tell. Ugh, I have a bad feeling about this. So, what are we swimming in now, Mr. Wright? If it's steakhouse, I can hook you up with some fine ribs. Ooh-wee. February 23rd, 12:32 p.m. District Court, Courtroom number 9. Number 9? I thought there were only 2. I'd like to... the zoo? What's up? The judge keeps looking over at the prosecution. Is something wrong, Mr. Edgeworth? Your face is blue and your lips are purple. You're sweating bullets. That furrowed brow, those grinding teeth, those watery eyes. What's more, your eyes are in focus, you're doubled over, your back is bent. It can't be. This can't happen. I wonder what happened to Mr. Edgeworth. Muffler inside a muffler. Indeed, maybe. Well then, I believe it is time we continued on with this trial. During our recess, I had requested that the prosecution conduct an investigation. This is unacceptable. It seems our prosecutor is quite beside himself. Excuse me. Knock, knock. Who's there? What's with this guy? A strange, stuffy aura seems to be filling the courtroom. Hey, the temperature rose 5.7 degrees when that man came in. Who on earth is he? Ah, it's you. Oh. Sorry I'm late, Udgy. The roads were packed. It's just me. Long time no see, eh, Udgy? How you been? So much these days? Hello. No, I've been busy. Busy smizzy, Udgy, my boy. You have to make time to relax. Yes, indeed. Udgy seems to be his nickname for the judge? I'm afraid you're right. Very afraid. Sorry, but who are you? So you're Wright, the attorney. I've heard good things about you, son. Thanks? So sorry about our little worthy giving you all the trouble, eh? You know, we should all go swimming together sometime. Jolly. The little worthy? Mr. Wright, you don't know the district chief of police? Chief of police? He is a top-ranking police officer in the entire district. Name's Grant. Damon Grant. Pleased to meet you, everyone. So, to what do we owe this honor today? It's been over 2 years since you last came to this courtroom, hasn't it? Well, it's worthy here. Look at the poor fellow. I just thought I'd help out by bringing this. Hey, that's my sister's muffler. So, Miss Star wasn't just saying things. When the crime occurred, Miss Sky really was wearing that muffler. But think that was stuffed in that exhaust pipe. On Little Worthy's car, no less. Why do you say that? It's really quite embarrassing, even for us. What's this? It's what you'd call a switchblade knife. Quite perplexing, this. Objection. Chief, what kind of outfit are you running? Mr. Edgeworth? How could they miss such a vital piece of evidence? If your investigators are this lax, how do you expect us to do our job? Now, wait a minute, Worthy. I've no desire to hear your excuses. I'm telling you to wait. Or didn't you hear me? Have a look at this document where it says Person in Charge of Investigation. There's no mistaking that signature, is there, Miles Edgeworth? That's not fair. On the day of the crime, I had your head in the clouds because you got that award. I know how you feel. But you're the person in charge. I'll expect a written apology. What? Are you serious? Don't be too upset. We'll find a way to clean up this mess that you made. This is the first time I've seen Mr. Edgeworth at a loss for words. It's not the first time I've seen him for a loss for words. This kind of major blunder is unlike you, Mr. Edgeworth. Gee. The court accepts this new evidence, but I'd like to ask the defense a favor first. Yes? Just to be sure, I'd like to take a look at the blade of this knife. The blade, Your Honor? Well, I don't see why not. Could you open it up for me, I wonder? Yes, well, I think all you have to do is push that switch and... If I cut my finger, Mr. Wright, I wouldn't be able to pound my gavel anymore. Yeah, but if I cut my finger, I wouldn't be able to point it at people anymore. Come on, just hurry up and open it. Alright. Really? Alright. Don't scare me like that. I'm the one who's scared. Look at this knife blade. The tip is broken off. And this dark red stain. Blood? Switchblade knife added to the court record. Found at the crime scene, wrapped in the defendant's muffler. Small tag attached. This does not excuse the actions of the police department. I would like to hear an explanation from the chief of police himself. I'm terribly sorry, but could I ask you to testify for us about the split between the prosecutors and the police and this knife? Sure thing. Not a problem. Not even a little one, really. Witness testimony. Department in disorder. This knife is special, but I can't say how here. Unless there's evidence to prove a connection between this knife and Goodman. That was a bad day for the department. We weren't in any shape to do an investigation. A detective was killed at the police department. See? What a mess. The time of the crime? 5:15. Scary coincidence, eh? It's not officially linked to this here case, so I can't talk much about it. There was a murder at the police department? A detective? That's hush-hush information, Edgy. We haven't exactly announced it yet. Objection! Wait a second. You said 5:15. That's the exact time that Detective Goodman was killed at the prosecutor's office. Order. Anyway, we at the department were all flustered, as you might well assume. We're in the middle of a top secret investigation. Don't tell anyone, okay? I think we understand the police department's situation. Well, Mr. Wright? 2 detectives killed at the same time in 2 different places? The chances of that are really slim. Scientifically speaking, of course. I'd like to exercise my right to cross-examine the witness. Very well. However, keep your questions focused on the case at hand. Sure. Cross-examination. Department in disorder. The knife is special, but I can't say how here. Excuse me. Special? Uh-huh. Hard to come by this particular knife anywhere else. Might that special thing be this little tag? Oh, sorry, Wright, but I can't say that now. Not that. We've established that the knife in Goodman's chest was this knife. Now, why was there another knife at the scene of the crime? That's quite a mystery. And like a mystery, it's wrapped in something. A muffler. Unless there's evidence to prove a connection between this knife and Goodman. This knife was found on the scene of our crime. I think that makes it connected to the case, don't you? See, there's a lot of things that go on at the department I can't explain. It's delicate, okay? Sorry, Righto. Maybe there's something about the knife that will give us a clue. Let's examine that knife while we can, Righto. Evidence that links this knife to Detective Goodman. I think perhaps the pieces are falling into place. I should try presenting the piece of evidence that had me stumped all this time. So, how are things down at the department? That was a bad day for the department. We weren't in any shape to do an investigation. Something happened at the police department too, huh? You got a good look in your eye there, Righto, my boy. Sharp, hungry. So, something did happen. And why wasn't I informed? Why weren't you informed? Well, why didn't you ask? No matter, I understand. You were busy, what with Lana's case and all. Well, what happened? What happened at the police department that day? A detective was killed at the police department. See, what a mess. Hold it. On the same day that a detective was killed in the prosecutor's parking lot, another detective was killed at the police department? That's a fact. Surprising, isn't it, Dudgy? I'm at a loss for words. And the perpetrator? Do you have a suspect? Well, there was a suspect. Just arrested him, in fact. Just arrested? That was quick. But there's still a lot of unanswered questions. Maybe you could help, Righto. I suppose I could help, if you help me by giving me data on your case. Ooh, good one. This gets sharp. Okay, here's the deal. I'll tell you one thing, and one thing only. Where the victim was found, how the victim was killed, when the victim died. Where the victim was found? That was the place. How it was killed? So, how was the detective killed? How was he killed? Well, that's the interesting part. It was what we in the force call a stabbing with a knife. A knife? That's exactly the same as Detective Goodman. That's the spirit. We're cooking now. But, you know, that's not the only thing that was exactly the same. So, what do you mean? There are more similarities between the two cases than the cause of death. It seems like I'm going to have to press this a bit harder. The time of the crime? 5:15. Scary coincidence, eh? 5:15? But that's when Detective Goodman was killed in the prosecutor's office. What? Funny, isn't it? A murder at the prosecutor's place, and a murder at her place at the very same time. What are the chances? Coincidence? This is just my gut feeling, but I'd say there's a 0.001% chance of that happening. Chief Grant, please tell us more about the incident. It's not officially linked to this here case, so I can't talk much about it. Hold it. How can you say there's no connection? How? Because I'm the chief of police. I can't just say anything I please, Righto. You understand. Try to understand, Righto. Well, if you can prove there's a connection, more power to you. Maybe there is something that ties the two murders together. Whatever it is, I'd better find it and get to the bottom of this. 2 detectives were killed at 5:15, one at the prosecutor's office and one at the police department. That can't be a coincidence. And that knife. What was it doing there? I'd better check this knife out. This knife is special, but I can't say how here. Alright, let's check out the knife. Not the present button, the check button. There's a small tag on the knife. It says SL92. What's that supposed to mean? I'm not sure, but it reminds me of a similar code. DL6. DL6. Maybe it's the case number? That's weird. What? I don't remember where, but I think I've seen something like this before. Something similar to what's written on this tag. It wasn't that long ago either. Maybe I should check the court record again. Alright. ID number 584. Trophy. Knife. Ticket stub. 512. A blue badger. Blue badger. Quite awesome. 67S122. SL9 221. There we are. That would do it. There we go. Okay. Wait a second. Ah, at last, an honest-to-goodness objection. This knife. This has to have something to do with Detective Goodman. What do you mean? And honest-to-goodness, what do you mean, Framudgy? This is great. Look at the tag on this knife. It reads SL92. And this is important. Why? Over here, we also have a memo that was on the body of the victim. Huh. What's this? 6 minus S7S12 / 2? Your Honor, it's upside down. The printed name on this memo makes it look like it's right side up. But turn it around, and what do you get? Whoever wrote this note was holding the paper upside down. SL9. It's the same thing that's written on the knife tag. Order, order. Well, Chief? Ah, well. I guess the cat's out of the bag. You win, Righto. I win? What game is this guy playing? This knife was evidence in the case. It was stolen from the department's evidence room. So, this knife was stolen? Yes, but on the day of the murder. It was evidence, you say. Was it, in fact, a murder weapon? Nice, nice, nice. Good show, Little Worthy. It was a murder weapon, as it happens. It was evidence from a case long since solved. So, this knife was stolen on the day of the murder, and it was found in the exhaust pipe of Edward's car. A murder scene for a detective and a prosecutor. Hard to think there isn't a connection there. It's a bad day for the department. We weren't in any shape to do an investigation. The detective was killed at the police department, see? What a mess. Time of the crime? 5:15. It's not officially linked to this case, so I can't talk much about it. Yes, it is. How can you say there's no connection? How? Because I'm the chief of police. I can't just say anything I please, Righto. You understand. Try to understand, Righto. Well, if you can prove there's a connection, more power to you. Maybe there is something that ties the two murders together. Whatever it is, I'd like to find it and get to the bottom of this. 2 detectives were killed, and that knife, blah, 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 blah. The department's evidence room. That was a bad day for the department. Right. On the same day that the detective was killed in the parking lot, another detective was killed at the police department? That's a fact. Surprising, isn't it, Dudgy? I'm at a loss for words. And the perpetrator? Do you have a suspect? Well, there was a suspect. Just arrested him, in fact. Just arrested? That was quick. But there's still a lot of unanswered questions. Maybe you could help, Righto. I suppose I could help, if you help me by giving me data on your case. Ooh, good one. This kid's sharp. Okay, here's the deal. I'll tell you one thing, and one thing only. Where the victim was found? So tell me, where was the victim found? Well, I can't speak on where the corpse was found, but I can say the crime took place in the evidence room at the police department. The evidence room? Wait a second. I have heard of that. The evidence room? Didn't you mention that in his testimony just now? This knife was evidence in the case. It was stolen from the department's evidence room. There's the connection between the two cases. You seem happy, Mr. Wright. Happy? We just got handed our ticket to go to town on this case. With the link between the two cases established, we finally have some leverage. Now we can get Gant to testify about the details. It's not officially linked to this here case, so I can't talk much about it. Chief, the defense's position is simply this. The connection between these two cases has already been proven. You don't say. Well, out with it, Righto. What's your connection? Yes, out with it, Mr. Wright. The connection is the place mentioned in the testimony we just heard. The knife found in the lot was stolen from the police department's evidence room. Not to mention the victim had on him the case number on the knife's evidence tag. And we also know that the detective murdered at the police department was killed in that very same evidence room. Indeed, there do seem to be too many connections for it to be a coincidence. You two make a good pair. It took my men 2 days to find out what you deduced right here. Chief, I request that you release your information to the victim at the police department. See, that's the tricky part. It hasn't been announced yet to know. Can we get the information unofficially? Sure, why not? It's unofficial after all. What? Really? Who would have guessed? I'll cooperate, but I can't reveal the name of the victim at the department. Okay? If you're going to tell us a little, why not tell us everything? Well, case information is sticky stuff. You have to do everything properly. Oh, well, I guess I might as well try to get what I can out of him. ID number? Okay, how about you tell me the victim's ID number? Huh? Sure, why not? It's not like you'll be able to tell who it is from that. Of course not. You won't tell me their name, after all. We keep a tight lid on ID numbers, so don't go getting your hopes up. The number is 5842189. Well, that was quite long. And we have to remember these. It drives me nuts. 82. I can't do it. You didn't even get the first number right. Well, Mr. Wright, does this tell you anything? The ID number of the victim at the police department, 5842189. This tells me something. Actually, it does, Your Honor. It does. I think. Meaning? It has to be what I think it is. But what does this mean? Well, let's hear what the defense has to say. You see the ID number of the detective who was murdered at the police department. Tells you something. What does it tell you? Wrong button. 5842189. Witness. What is it, Mr. Wright? You're grinning like a schoolgirl on prom night. No, it's just... I got confused. And this is news? Huh? Just come out with both guns blazing, like you always do. The police department is the prosecutor's office. 2 places, 2 detectives murdered at one time. Actually, I happen to have a police ID number here. Ho ho, is it yours? No, Your Honor, a defense attorney, remember? This is the ID number of our victim, Detective Goodman. Shame on you, Raito. Personnel IDs are top secret. Detective Goodman's ID number is 5842189. And this means what exactly? Huh? Wait, that ID number we heard from the chief earlier. That started with 82... I've forgotten. You didn't even get the first number right again! The number the chief of police gave us was 5842189. Objection! Wait a second, Wright. What does this mean? That's what I want to know. The two ID numbers are identical. In other words, the detective killed in the police department's evidence room was Bruce Goodman. What does our witness think about that? Oh, sharp as a tack, right? Oh, sharp as a tack. But wait, Detective Goodman is our victim. He was killed at 5:15 in the underground parking lot. Yet, a Detective Bruce Goodman was also killed at the police department, in the evidence room at the exact same time. Objection! That's impossible. So, what we're saying is, the same person was killed at the same time? And in a completely different location? How's this one for a closed room case, Beatrice? Order, order, order. Chief, what is this? No. What I want to know is, why didn't I hear about this? Yes, it's top secret, fine, but I'm the prosecutor in charge of the case. Now, just wait a second, Worthy. No need to get all flustered. Your Honor, the police department has made a grave error in this case. Wait. I said wait. Or didn't you hear me? The oversight, the grave error. Mr. Edgeworth, they're yours. What? How dare... We informed you yesterday. I believe it was our Officer Meekins who brought you the news. Officer Meekins? That's right. Where have we heard that name before? Wait. Excuse me, but is Mr. Edgeworth, anywhere on the premises? I'm here, sir, at the request of the chief, sir. I've got your report, sir. You don't mean him? According to Meekins, you didn't accept the report. Hard to believe. But your officer, he told me... He said that report had nothing to do with the Lana Sky incident. Detective Bruce Goodman murdered in the police department evidence room. Mr. Edgeworth, the victim's name is written right on the top of the report. Why did your officer tell me? Honestly, I'm not sure if that officer was capable of making the connection. He did seem challenged. In any case, this is a serious error, a gross negligence of duty on your part, Worthy. Objection! But sir, you could have submitted that report this morning to the court as evidence. Then I... No such luck this time, Worthy. Or should I say, unworthy. What? Now, what was the second rule of evidence law? Well, Mr. Wright? Huh? Oh, well, it's, Rule 2. Unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case on trial. And how is this rule relevant? Normally, you submit a list of evidence to be used in court before the trial. This report wasn't on that list. So, what does this mean? I couldn't submit this evidence until a connection was proven in court. The connection was just proven by Raito over there. Good job, Raito, my boy. Huh? I was just doing my job. No. No! It seems we have come to the end of this trial. I know you're going through a tough time, Worthy, what with all those rumors. You were even in the defendant's chair just this past December. I apologize for this terrible lack of due diligence on my part. Mr. Edgeworth, please, just give me one day. I'll get to the bottom of what happened, if it's the last thing I do. You'd better get results this time, really. You have my profound apologies, sir. Poor Mr. Edgeworth. I don't think there's ever been an error this serious in the history of this court. I'll grant one further day as the prosecution has requested. Will that be sufficient, Mr. Edgeworth? Yes, Your Honor. Thank you. Whatever your punishment for this is, for your sake, I hope it's not decisive. Very well. Court is adjourned. To be continued. Save progress. It'll be really nice when this cold is just over with. Hey. It's not bad, it's just there. Annoying. February 23rd, 2:15 p.m. Wright & Co. Law Offices. That might actually be a perfect stopping point for now. I don't have to end just at 6 now, but one of the nice things about the new internet thing is I can afford to go over 6. I don't have to worry about rushing it at the end. I can just take my time. But yeah, that'll be it for today. Try and get a bit more rest, maybe. Get over this stupid cold. But yeah. I hope you enjoyed that. Now we have 2 murder cases for the same person and 2 completely separate things at the same exact time. How's that for a murder case? Got any theories on that one? Anyway, take care, everybody. I'm going to try and get over this. We'll have OBJECTION tomorrow. And we can probably go past 6 and maybe get a bit more done with that one. OBJECTION, I'm going to spend a bit more time on than Phoenix Wright. Magic. Yeah, there we go. That's I should have expected. That's what the witch says. Magic. That is the obvious answer. See you later, guys. Have fun.